Of the original 40 of us, only 11 remained. Sergeant DeTonk, Corporal Larry Kane, who had recently put his own life on the line to save the rest of us. Farley, Beltran, the ill-fated Peterson, Callahan, Sadowski, all of them suffering from exhaustion and fear. Then there was the lieutenant and myself.
Okay, we're gonna flank the village from the side. Beltran, Callahan, on point. Sadowski, DeTonk, bunker down in there with them. Kane, Peterson, Kelly, Brandt. I want you following behind me down the road. We got Sanchez and Farley on this side right here. We'll rendezvous at the building down there and infiltrate the village. Understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, move out, boys.
I'm not going to fault the conduct of the lieutenant up to this point. He'd never been with a group of men like this before, in a situation like this.
Well, what about these men?
Neanderthals. Human dregs that washed up in the enlistment ranks that the Army, in its wisdom, chose to wage this war.
Tyson was what, about 21?
College kid. You know, I sensed that he was just as uncomfortable in the presence of these men as I was. But unlike me, I think that he thought that he had something to prove.
Quiet, get out of here.
Okay, let's go back a second. You indicated it was your recommendation, as Corps Medic, that these men were in no condition to continue the mission. Tyson decided to advance to Ananha and the International Hospital at Misericord anyway?
Mm-hmm. He told us that there would be women there.
Right.
As we approached the hospital, there was a Red Cross flag flying from the rooftop.
Red Cross flag. Signifying what?
Neutrality. Or so we thought.
Get down! Get him out! I got Pearson! Grab Kane! Cover me! I got him!
Kane's bad, Brent. He's hurt bad.
Wait. No, he's dead. Help me with Peterson.
Peterson's wound was mortal. Only a thoracic surgeon working in a well-equipped hospital could have saved him.
No disrespect!
And we would have had to have choppered him out of there.
Stay back! Please. Stay back!
Compounding the problem, we had just fired a few hundred rounds into the place, so they weren't exactly ecstatic to see us.
Watch him! Watch him!
So at the time, what was your opinion of Peterson's condition?
I told Tyson several times that their ER was not equipped to handle thoracic surgery. And that's what the Frenchman, the chief of surgery, was also trying to tell him.
Look. French bastard. Help him. He's dying.
Better dust off, he's gone.
They're all dying, Lieutenant. Do we let these other men die to operate on this man from nothing can be done? Put your hands off me!
Tell your man Alaria's gun. This is not a war zone.
Beltran, make room for Peterson.
You move now!
Move it, sister. Come on.
Get ready to operate. Now.
Lieutenant! Hey, there's no point!
On peut rien faire pour lui.
He's dead.
No!
He's dead, Lieutenant. Sons of bitches, man! Waste them all!
Lost him! What do we do?
Finish it! Kill every man and woman in this place.
An orgy of murder. Not a single human life was spared. After they burned the building down, and all the witnesses were dead, they swore a blood oath on their word of honor, never to speak of it again.
Not a word to anyone. I mean, not for 30 years.
I considered coming forth, especially when I heard that Lieutenant Tyson had been put in for a Silver Star. But it would have been my word against his.
Oh, it still is.
But now I don't care. A thing like this contaminates your soul, Mr. Picard. It ruined my life. It ruined my life. It ruined my life. And I think it's my duty to God and to my country to set the record straight about Lieutenant Benjamin Tyson and the atrocities at Misericord.
In Iraq today, the U.S. Army continued their patrol of former Ba'ath Party headquarters. Cited sporadic looting and violence over the
Did you talk to David?
Oh, I talked.
Rumsfeld speaking at length about the U.S. efforts.
Not sure he listened. He's still saying he didn't cheat. Teachers had it in for him, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, right.
Well, he's got to come to it on his own. Stop being the principal. Be his mom.
Well, since you're in such a forgiving mood, I meant to tell you that I had to wire my sister more money last week. She sounded so desperate, Ben.
Well, maybe she should have gone back to her husband instead of blowing all that money on lawyers.
Oh.
Not cool. Who blow the money on lawyers?
Aunt Francie, honey. She and Bill are going through a hard time.
Should have married the bum in the first place.
Oh, very compassionate. People experience problems in their lives, David. It could happen to any of us.
Good to know.
Well, people just have to take responsibility for their actions, don't they? Have a wonderful day at school, David.
Yeah, right.
Hold on. Jim Wattenberg?
Call back.
Mr. Wattenberg? He's rushing into a meeting. Mr. Tyson's office? No, I'm sorry. He's in a meeting right
I talked to Brian Falco. They're waiting on our recommendations.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that.
Don't tell me you're having second thoughts, my friend. Board meeting's tomorrow.
Ben, it's your wife.
Hold the calls, okay? And get me Phil Sloan.
You all right?
You know, I'm right in the middle of something. Can I get back to you later on this one?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
Phil Sloan is in the conference room?
Why did it take 30 years to tell this story?
A story like this has obvious disadvantages. It was a long time ago. Those who were there, who might still be alive, have no reason to either confirm or deny their role in the assault.
But why now?
He's been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Facing mortality, he decided it was time.
Dr. Brent, we don't need to make these allegations now.
I can't talk to you now.
What's his profile?
A war hero, sir. 2 Purple Hearts, Combat Infantryman's Badge, Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry, and the Silver Star.
How about the whistleblower?
We don't know much, sir. Company medic. Discharged in 73. Disappeared into civilian life. Medical practice until 97.
Dr. Brandt's allegations are creating a scandal with foreign governments and human rights organizations demanding an investigation.
Tell him to piss off.
You can't just tell the international community to piss off, General. We have full diplomatic relations with Hanoi. That includes an extradition treaty.
I assume you're considering the lawsuit?
My immediate concern is whether or not this could bring about a criminal action.
While there is no statute of limitations for murder, it's very unlikely they're going to come after you for an incident 30 years ago in a foreign country.
The Justice Department can't put them on trial. We have no jurisdiction.
General, Tyson and his men are civilians. The Army only tries soldiers on active duty.
I mean, you'd have to be tried in a military court, which has no authority. Unless you're still a member of the reserves or something like that.
I'm not.
No way to recall him in order to try him. If he was in the reserves or collecting disability. And?
Anyway, this is assuming these allegations are true.
Tyson gets medical benefits for his leg injury.
What we have here is an uncorroborated account by a former platoon mate who doesn't even specifically identify you as having killed anybody.
But as commanding officer, I bear full responsibility for my men.
Now we're going to tell all our wounded veterans. We can recall them on a whim.
Okay, look, let me spell it out for you, General. Our country's in a state of war.
Do not talk to the press. You give no statements, public or private, to anybody. Marcy, too.
We're accusing rogue nations of harboring terrorists and slaughtering innocents. The last thing this government needs right now is a scandal about an army cover-up of a civilian massacre.
Now for a special report, we go live to Dallas.
Let her through!
Sir, you acknowledge your role in the Misericord massacre.
You people are on private property.
Mr. Tyson!
I've been trying to reach you all day.
Forgot my cell phone. There was an incident at that hospital. It didn't happen exactly the way it's being reported.
Where's David? David!
It's okay. I reached him at school. He's spending the night at Parker's.
This magazine says that you and your men killed innocent people, burned down a hospital. Is that true?
It's not true. It's true, and it's not true. I want to talk to you about this, but I can't. I gave my word.
You gave your word to whom? The Army?
You're gonna have to trust me. I can't talk about this. If that article triggers an investigation, there will be different versions of the truth.
You can be charged?
According to Phil Sloan, it's possible. Not likely.
You already talked to Phil Sloan?
He's got a law degree.
Well, this Seattle doctor obviously doesn't care too much about the sanctity of some oath.
You weren't there. You were in friggin' grammar school. Don't ask me to justify what happened in that hellhole.
office. Major Karen Harper here to see Benjamin Tyson.
Thanks.
Ah, here he is.
Benjamin Tyson. Major Karen Harper representing the Judge Advocate General's office. I apologize for the inconvenience. I wonder if I could borrow a few minutes of your time. I assure you, Mr. Tyson, this is merely a preliminary inquiry. There have been sensational allegations leveled against you. But I've read the statements that you and your men gave to Army investigators back in '73, and I have no reason at this time to believe Dr. Brandt's story and disbelieve yours. The man waits 30 years to come forward. It obviously raises certain questions. Nevertheless, I have a duty to advise you I'm here to conduct an Article 32 investigation, and in order to do so, charges must be contemplated. In this case, among those charges are murder and accessory to murder. Under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the maximum penalty for murder is death by lethal injection. You have the right to counsel, to remain silent. Do you understand these rights under the Uniform Code?
Yes, Major, I do.
The things they make a girl say. Would you like to have lunch?
You, me, and my attorney?
If you want your attorney, by all means. But, as I said, this is all very preliminary. If I find there are no grounds to prosecute, as I fully hope and expect, I will recommend the case against you be dropped. Did you suffer any casualties before you entered the hospital?
Arthur Peterson.
May I take this from you?
Thank you.
What about Larry Kane?
Larry Kane was killed inside the hospital.
You decided to bring the wounded inside the facility for treatment, correct? And once inside, how were you able to distinguish between enemy, patients, staff?
We didn't. The VC either masqueraded as patients or staff, or they used patients and staff as human shields.
How many enemy in all do you estimate?
30, 40.
And in the hospital, how many casualties in your platoon other than Larry Kane and Arthur Peterson?
There was no one else. Major, do you think the Army could afford a cognac?
I can afford 2 cognacs, but I'm on duty. So, to recap, you were ambushed outside the hospital. A man went down. You made a decision to enter the building, and in the battle for control, a fire ensued and the hospital burned to the ground.
That's correct.
You did not order your men to kill anyone. There was no massacre. Thank you. This is not a war crime, and you did not intentionally set the fire.
Yes.
Why do you suppose that there's such a discrepancy between this official report and what Dr. Brandt told the Atlantic Monthly?
Brandt is lying?
Possibly. But why?
You'll have to ask him.
I intend to. 11 fatigued men attack a beach in Way, and then make a frontal assault on the Zaracord Hospital.
This is an international hospital, you bloody bastards, and I decide who gets seen here and in what order!
Why didn't you call for reinforcements? I don't expect you to answer that because it presupposes you're lying about the entire incident.
What do you know about combat conditions? You have no idea what that war was like.
Mr. Tyson, Would you please note that this envelope is addressed to you? Those are orders recalling you to active duty in the United States Army. Would you please sign the receipt attached to these orders?
Absolutely not.
It's a formality anyway, Lieutenant. Legally, you've been served. Off the record, I sincerely hope Dr. Brandt's story isn't true. A thing like this could have devastating consequences, not only for you and your family, but for the Army and this country.
Well, for the record, you go to hell.
This incident transcends not only constitutional rights, but Mr. Tyson's civil liberties. The Army has no jurisdiction here. None. And if they think they can enforce the recall order, it sets a very dangerous and chilling precedent.
At least he is defending you.
New dress?
Yeah. It's for the fundraiser tomorrow night. Well, I am the new principal. I have to be there. Smile and answer questions.
How do you do, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so? I'm really excited about my new job. The fact that my husband is accused of war crimes doesn't detract at all from my qualifications as an educator.
Well, it is bound to come up. And it would help if I knew what to say.
He's gonna walk away from this, isn't he?
Oh, no. The Army's taking this very seriously. We're not in the business of covering up war crimes.
I saw Tyson's lawyer on panel discussion. He was saying that the Army's recall violates the Constitution.
We disagree with that assessment. Generally speaking, how would you characterize your relationship with Tyson?
Well, there were differences. But generally speaking, we respected each other.
You told Picard that as you approached the hospital, you encountered sniper fire.
Well, I never told Picard that I was certain where it came from. 2 men were hit. Arthur Peterson in the throat.
And the other one?
Larry Kane. Shot in the heart. Died instantly.
Outside the hospital?
Of course.
Are you aware that according to Tyson, Larry Kane was killed inside the building? That his body was incinerated along with the other victims?
As I've told you, Tyson's story is a pack of lies.
Hello, Eleanor. Marcy.
You look lovely this evening.
Thank you. Sam, get a picture of our guest of honor and her husband for the review.
Tyson, you got plenty.
Thanks.
We need to talk.
Phil, if you don't mind, I'd rather not be seen huddling with my attorney this evening. Thanks.
You're not being the world's most cooperative client, you know that?
Maybe that's because you're not being the world's most discreet attorney. If you're going to appear on TV and speak on my behalf, perhaps you should clear it with me first.
If you're not going to defend yourself, someone has to do it. Look, I understand your reluctance to avoid further public embarrassment. Let me show you something. Please. My kid downloaded this off the internet this morning. Marcy's wild sex life back in the 80s is gonna be all over the covers of several tabloids.
Well, what do you want me to do, Phil? Autograph it for you?
People are asking me, when are Ben and Marcy gonna stand up to these bastards? A thing like this could be worth millions.
That's 40% to you, right? Let's resolve this right now. You're fired.
What is going on? Jeez. Oh my God. The cars, the police, foreigner, Duran. Well, who didn't I bang?
Hey, how's it going? GI's personal accounts of the Battle of Wei?
We're studying that in history. I mean, the Vietnam War.
You doing okay?
Fine.
Really?
You're always telling me to take responsibility for my problems. I'm not going to bitch.
David, if I had done everything that they're saying I did, I'd admit that to you.
I don't give a damn what you did.
Come on, David, you know that's crap.
But it happened.
Hi, guys. So he saw it.
Where did they get that?
It's called freedom of the press. You're free to say no comment, and they are free to print whatever the hell they want.
I am not going to defend myself in the press. You know why?
No, I don't. Because you won't tell me. You at least knew about my past. I didn't hide anything.
You're right. I should be beyond all that. But it's a little difficult dealing with the fact that your wife's sexual history is on the cover of every newspaper in the country.
Damn it, I had a few boyfriends, okay? I had a life before you, and you knew all about it long before you came into this. So I screwed some guys, so what? Hell, you killed more guys than I ever screwed.
I've got a feeling about Brandt. The fact that he's, the fact that he sat on the story all this time. Suppose he's got an agenda here. Some vendetta against Tyson.
Then we'll find out what his motive is.
Arthur Peterson was killed outside that hospital, and his body was returned stateside for a hero's burial.
Larry Kane is the son of an army general. His brother served in the U.S. Senate. Brandt's story is true. And Kane was killed outside the building. How come his body never came home?
This came in while you were still in the air, and Van Arken wants us to keep a lid on it. Another one of Tyson's men has come forward. Vince Farley confirms that Kane was killed inside the hospital. Claims Tyson shot him in cold blood. Hell of a firestorm once the press gets wind that Tyson fragged the son of one of our country's greatest commanders.
Mustang 6, this is Kane! This is Kane! Mustang 6! We're backing out! I repeat, we are backing out! LT is down! We need a chopper now! Give us the marker! Roger, guide on that! We're gonna have to leave the dead! Lieutenant!
Fall back! Don't take the wounded and leave the dead! Know the difference!
You're in early.
Oh, good morning, Lou. All-nighter, actually.
Peterson, get over here! Give me a hand!
Come on in.
Hold on, Lieutenant! Help's coming!
Ben, look, this is awkward. We've been colleagues a long time, friends a lot longer.
But I've become a liability. How do I make this easier?
Accept a paid leave of absence until this situation is resolved.
Can't accept pay for work I don't do. Besides, you got a partnership to answer to.
You let me handle the partners.
I appreciate it, Lou, but no thanks. Have my resignation in an hour.
Sorry. For what it's worth, I can't say who you were then, but The man I know isn't the man in the papers. Yeah.
J.D. Reynolds, who's that?
Oh, friend of the family. Don't let the corn pone routine fool you. It's the best legal mind this side of the Mason-Dixon line. Good luck.
Pentagon sources have confirmed that former platoon member Vince Farley has come forward. The Judge Advocate General is considering charges concerning the civilian massacre. Farley is expected.
This is Kelly.
John.
Yeah.
And Tyson.
Been a long time.
No kidding.
It's good to hear your voice, sir.
Yeah. It's good to hear your voice, too.
Lieutenant, what should we do about all this?
Well, look, we're gonna have to deal with this thing.
Yeah, I know. I've been watching all the stuff about us on the news.
Gonna need to get the guys together.
Right.
What's this?
I got a trip to D.C. Just writing you a note.
Why?
See some people.
Some people. For how long?
Marcy, I can't continue to put you and David through this. When I get back, I'm gonna get a room at the club. Till this is over.
Ben, I'm scared.
Marcia, I'm doing the best I can.
Here you go.
What's this?
Thucydides. I'm attempting to read him in the original Greek. That's a piece of work. You ever study the classics, Mr. Tyson? Very stimulating. Very smart people in those days.
I guess what I should ask you right off is, what's a thing like this likely to cost?
A couple $100,000, give or take. And that's just the appeals process. We start fighting this recall, the sons of bitches will try to run you through an Article 32. What?
That, Major Harper, the one that handed me the recall orders, she told me she was assigned to do the Article 32.
You talked to her. Without benefit of counsel.
Well, she explained to me that...
I don't care what she explained. I care about what you told her. And exactly what the hell happened to you at Misericord.
I swore I'd never disclose that.
Well, if you expect me to keep you away from that firing squad, Mr. Tyson, you're gonna have to disclose that. I'm your attorney. I got privilege. Well, well, you saved Louis Kaplan a hefty retainer fee.
I pay my own way, Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Tyson, I was in country. 2 years tour of duty.
Don't leave this room.
First, tell me about Misericord.
Won't forget you, Kane. Just hang on tight. We're gonna get you out of here. I'm gonna make sure you get a commendation. You saved my life. You've done the same, buddy. We're in this hellhole together. Get yourself patched up, you know? Look around you, Lieutenant. You're not alone. He's ready. Come on.
Lieutenant Tyson? Radio man John Kelly reports, sir.
In Iraq, the American team of inspectors continue their search.
The whole Iraq
for
war
weapons
was handled
of
by
mass
push button.
destruction.
What kind of war
When
is
the
that?
began, officials feared chemical and
Sadowski?
biological attacks on U.S. troops. Laser-guided bombs and heat-seeking missiles destroyed Iraqi targets. 144 American troops were killed during the war, while many others continue to die in daily skirmishes.
144 casualties.
Theories about the weapons of mass destruction
Half of them were
include
accidents.
the possibility
Hell, we
that
lost
Saddam
what?
Hussein
58,000.
in order to appear more
58,000.
that the weapons were moved to another country.
Come on, they treat us like garbage.
Billy Sanchez? He offed himself, I heard. Hey, man.
Ramon, son of a bitch.
Come on.
Come on in, have yourself a drink.
Hey, Mo, mate.
All right. I'm not into this weepy, touchy-feely reunion, so let's get to it.
Lieutenant, look, we know what you're going through. You're taking the bullet for all of us. You got our loyalty. You need money, help along the way, just ask.
Oh, son of a bitch is a turned weasel. And after you protected Brent, Lieutenant, we stick to the story, we stay together, we're gonna be okay.
You're forgetting the nun. Sister, what's her name? Well, she starts talking.
Should have fragged her, too.
Look, I'm not trying to defend Dr. Brandt, but I've struggled with this myself. Brandt never found peace. I found Jesus. And every day I ask the Lord for forgiveness for Misericord. Every day...
Okay, enough with the born-again crap, Bell. I came to hear the lieutenant.
The story's out there. It's distorted. I need some leeway.
What do you mean, leeway?
I got a family. They need to know what happened. Hold up. This is what you got us out here for?
Let me make this real simple. You open your mouth
Come on,
to
man.
anybody. Your wife, your kids, anybody. There'll be payback.
Is that a threat?
It is what it is, Ty.
Don't test me. We saved your life a long time ago, Lieutenant. Don't make us regret that.
You gave us your word, sir. We got our own families to protect.
Lieutenant, wives talk. They talk to their girlfriends, their ministers.
You selfish bastard!
Oh, come on.
No, now you want to sell us out? So you can save your marriage to that slut wife of yours?
Maybe I prevail against the Army. Maybe I prevail against that recall. And maybe I don't. Either way, it's clear the loyalty in this room cuts one way. And always did.
Never once in the Army's 227-year history has a former soldier, a decorated war hero with 2 Purple Hearts, been reactivated on the basis of disability pay. Never once. The Army says it must recall Benjamin Tyson so that it can investigate a crime. But a crime has never been established here. Instead, Mr. Tyson has been subjected to an avalanche of publicity, been accused and convicted in the media based on multiple, convoluted, contradictory, and unsubstantiated verbal accounts. A crime has been committed, but it is the Army's determination to scapegoat an innocent man by dragging him backward through this loophole, and its willingness to shred the Constitution in order to selectively prosecute him. I ask that our motion for immediate relief be granted and the Army's jurisdiction denied. In some ways, this ruling is so bad, it's good. Listen to the fractured logic. The frightening nature of this precedent argues that such rulings should pertain only to the facts of this case and this case alone, etc. Dementia. He basically confirms he denied your constitutional rights. It's just that it's okay because it's you.
Now we appeal.
You got that right, all the way to the Supreme Court.
Bad break. I assume you're going to appeal.
Spare us the false sympathies, Major.
I'm being sincere, Lieutenant. There are no bad guys here, just the system. Between us, I don't think it was a good ruling.
Thank you very much, Major Darling. Let's go. Now, let me just say that I'm not at liberty to discuss the particulars of the ruling. I can assure you that Mr. Tyson will fight for his constitutional right.
Tyson, I represent the government.
The whole government? All by yourself?
I like that, Tyson. You're obviously better educated than your typical mass murderer. Relax. Have a sense of humor, for Christ's sake. The point is, this conversation is unofficial, but authorized.
Is that so? What's in it for me?
If you're smart, your freedom, your life. Let me lay it out for you. The people on your side are civilians. The White House, State Department. It's the Army that wants your head on a pole.
I'm not going down without a fight.
Think of the expense, the effort.
And the alternative?
Leave the country. You have your passport. All we ask is that you go someplace that won't embarrass the administration. Places like Brazil or Sweden, where there's no extradition problem.
How about you go to hell?
If you put the Army through an ugly court fight, you'll lose. They'll yank your passport, confine you to prison for the rest of your life.
Hey, Tyson! Folks made the cover again. Leave him be, Kenny. Hey, Dave, if your daddy does some time, I'll put your mom on the top of my MILF list.
Think of your son, your wife, or it is your marriage is rocky.
Is it true you're getting a divorce? It's what it says in the tabloids.
David, we are not talking about divorce.
Everything about this family is a lie.
This is not just about you and me anymore. You have to choose.
You need to understand something. The Army needs this one. You remember the Peers Commission report on My Lai? Everything that was wrong with that case will be right with this one. No cover-ups, legal blunders, just justice. Even if it has to be scripted and faked.
I want to make a deal.
What kind of deal?
I'll accept the Army's recall orders and the court-martial. But in exchange, I want immunity for my soldiers.
Are you off your medication? What are you even considering this for? We'll win on appeal. You'll be off scot-free.
In 2 years.
The Army will be happy to execute you. You get that? My job is to protect you, even against yourself. You won't let me do that? Find yourself another attorney.
My family is my life, J.D. This is destroying them. If I don't end this now, my life's not gonna be worth a damn.
I don't know. Maybe I just have a broader definition of life than you do.
I'm gonna ask you to narrow it. Just this once. Help me.
Congratulations. Let's go celebrate.
What's going on?
Tyson? He dropped his appeal. He wants immunity for his soldiers.
Why is he doing this?
Hold up. All right, go ahead.
Death wish.
Okay, we go.
Lieutenant Tyson reports.
You're supposed to show up in uniform, Lieutenant?
I don't own a uniform, sir.
You know a barber, then?
Yes, sir, I do.
So you show up down here in civvies, no tie, long hair. We run a nice, quiet post here, Lieutenant Tyson. We do not enjoy the prospect having the media nosing around here. Curiosity seekers and demonstrations. Those people make me sick.
I'll try not to add to your problems, sir.
Well, see that you don't. Now, I've been instructed to offer you family housing.
Thank you, sir, but my family won't be joining me. I've made arrangements at a hotel.
Well, let me be a little more precise then, Lieutenant. You will be at base housing from 2400 to 0600 hours. Any off-duty travel is restricted to 15 miles from your post.
I was told I would not be restricted.
I don't give a damn what you were told, Lieutenant. You're back in the Army now. An Army upon which you've shown nothing but disgrace and dishonor. Now get out of my face. You're dismissed.
Lieutenant.
Major?
That's right. I am a major. Why does Farley hate you so much?
Ask Farley.
Yeah. Why does Brant hate you? Oh, I don't know for certain what happened at Misericord. Brant and Farley's version are all over the map, but I do know your version is incredible either.
Maybe the truth is irrelevant, Major.
No, lies are destructive, you know. They spread like a malignancy to the innocent and guilty alike. I want the lies to stop. And I want you to put an end to them. Not for your own sake, then for the sake of the innocent and for the sake of your country. Just end this nightmare for everyone. If those men mutinied, Lieutenant, if those men are responsible for this crime against humanity, put an end to this now. They don't deserve your loyalty.
See that guy over there? Would you die to save his life? Right now. No time to think. Boom. He's dead. And you're probably dead too. The legal system. They're more concerned about winning than they are about justice. My God, we've got a news media that is an international disgrace. owned by behemoth corporations that profiteer on human tragedy. And they try and pass it off as some sort of crusade for the truth. Well, that's a bunch of crap. And you couldn't penetrate the truth of Misericord in a million years.
I like you, Tyson. I even admire you. Which is one of the reasons I can't let this go. Every account of Misericord, including your own, mentions a surviving eyewitness. Sister Teresa?
Major, if you like me so much, leave her out of this. I'll take my chances against Brant and Farley.
No, you'll take your chances against me. General Van Arken has ordered me to prosecute this case.
Mrs. Tyson, apologies. I was detained. Did they get you anything? Can I get you anything?
No. But thank you for seeing me on such short notice. I hope that I didn't sound too anxious on the phone, but I am confused about all this.
He met with his soldiers, you know. He asked them to release him from his obligation.
When?
Last week. I gather it didn't go quite the way he was hoping.
You never told me.
Well, against my very expensive and well-considered advice, he's determined to do this thing, to fight this thing the best way he thinks he can, by confronting his accusers in the courtroom. He believes the only way he can end this thing is with a court-martial. He also believes that if he doesn't, he's going to lose you and your boy. David, is it?
Yes.
And as he said to me, his wife and family are his life.
When the lieutenant said we're going to take a quick detour into this village.
The village of Annenha.
Uh-huh. And we're going to stop at this hospital.
Misericord Hospital.
Objection. Is counsel going to testify as well?
Sustained. Major, have your witness respond in full.
Why were you going to Misericord Hospital?
Well, the Louis said we got a couple of guys that were still in pretty bad shape after we got ambushed. And they needed more help than Brant could give them in the field.
Please tell us what happened at the hospital.
So, the lieutenant ordered Beltran to pull a gook off a table and put Peterson on it. Then Tyson said, somebody said Peterson's dead. And then Tyson said, waste them all. And then he shot Kane.
Why did they kill the doctors and the nurses and the other patients?
They saw him running. In Nam, you see someone running, their enemy, you kill them.
What about Corporal Larry Kane?
Well, like I said, Tyson shot him.
Why?
Because Kane was trying to stop it.
At no time did you hear or see Lieutenant Tyson try to stop what was going on?
Well, why would he do that? He begun it.
Thank you, Mr. Farley. I have no more questions.
Mr. Runnels, do you wish to inquire?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Farley. How's the Army been treating you?
No complaints. Major Tax even took me out for breakfast.
He did. I bet it's better than the breakfast at the Our Lady of Perpetual Mercy shelter, huh?
Well, much better. I had Belgian waffles.
Mr. Farley, are you currently in treatment for substance abuse?
Objection. Relevance.
Goes to memory, Your Honor.
Answer the question, Mr. Farley.
Off and on. When I go to a session at the VA, then I'm under treatment.
For what substances?
Barbiturates, alcohol, and heroin.
How long you been under treatment?
Since 75. 73.
Mr. Farley, while you were in Vietnam, did you use illegal substances? I'll just remind you, you're under oath.
Grass. Morphine. Dropped a little acid.
Before you took the stand this morning, while you're eating your waffle, did you go over your testimony with Major Tax?
To freshen me up, he said.
How much time did you spend doing that?
You mean this morning? Or counting the weekend?
Was Major Tax helpful?
He sure knew a lot more about it than I did.
Your Honor, I object.
No further questions, Your Honor.
On February 15th, 1972, did you help carry PFC Arthur Peterson to an operating room in Misericord Hospital?
I did.
What happened next?
Lieutenant Tyson was demanding that the doctor treat Peterson, and the doctor wouldn't. So, Lieutenant Tyson shoved him, and then PFC Sadowski hit the doctor in the groin with a rifle butt, and then Lieutenant Tyson told the others to pull a VC off the operating table and put Peterson up there, which we did.
And then?
And then Peterson died. And a few seconds later, Lieutenant Tyson told Corporal Kane, kill him. I mean, it may have been waste him or kill them all.
Dr. Brandt.
Major.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Kill them all. That's what he said. Did Larry Kane respond to this order?
No. He resisted.
What happened next?
Lieutenant Tyson executed him. And then Sergeant DeTonk shot the doctor, and then the others started shooting, I assume out of fear of Lieutenant Tyson. And Kelly and Beltran, they left the room, and I soon heard more gunfire.
Did you say anything to Lieutenant Tyson?
Yes. By this time, I could hear shooting all over. And I could hear screaming. And it seemed like the screaming was louder than the gunfire, and I said, Lieutenant Tyson, they're killing women and children.
How did he respond?
He gave no answer. He simply left the room. He left the room, and after that, I didn't see him again. Until we assembled outside the hospital.
By which time the hospital was burning?
Yes.
And were people trying to get out?
Some people were jumping out the windows. Some people were crawling out the door. Many were on fire.
Did Lieutenant Tyson order anyone to aid them?
No. Lieutenant Tyson ordered them shot.
I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you.
Dr. Brandt, you told us that you bear no animus toward Benjamin Tyson.
That's right.
You have no reason to invent a story in order to harm him.
Correct.
Your Honor, I'd like the record to show that Dr. Brandt has been re-advised as to his oath.
So noted, Mr. Runnels. Dr. Brandt, I remind you, you're still under oath.
Regarding your account of the death of Larry Kane, in your initial statement to the Army investigators, you claimed that Corporal Kane was killed by sniper fire outside the hospital building. Were you lying then, or are you lying now?
Objection.
Goes to credibility, Your Honor.
Answer the question, Dr. Brand.
Larry Kane's father was a retired United States general. His brother is a United States senator. Out of respect for Mr. Kane's family, I decided to maintain that part of the cover story which we all agreed to.
To protect his memory? From what? He was a hero who tried to prevent a massacre.
Objection. The witness has already acknowledged his previous statements were inaccurate.
Did you ever assist the South Vietnamese police when they searched villages for suspected enemy agents?
Objection.
Goes to his denial of animus toward my client, Your Honor.
Continue.
Did you ever assist the South Vietnamese police when they searched villages for suspected enemy agents?
I didn't assist the police. I supplied medical help.
Medical help? To the police?
To the suspects. Torture was not uncommon.
I see. As a courtesy, you occasionally supplied medical assistance to suspects the police tortured.
Yes.
Did the police ever undress their suspects before they tortured them?
Yes, they stripped them naked.
Did they ever torture young people?
Unfortunately.
Do you recall a night when you treated a young girl in a village near Quang Tri? You treated her in a hooch while the police held her mother and father and the rest of the villagers outside.
No.
She's around 12 years old. She was screaming in terror and agony while you beat and raped her. Does that jog your memory, Dr. Brent? You don't recall raping that young child and the ensuing activity?
Objection!
Mr. Reynolds, please limit your questions to matters directly relating to Lieutenant Tyson, his men, or the incident at hand.
Didn't Lieutenant Tyson and his men,
What are you doing? Let go!
your fellow platoon members who are presently in this hall, allow those villagers to hold you underwater in a rice paddy until your body was covered with leeches? Please answer the question.
Yes.
And aren't you here today solely to revenge yourself for that humiliation?
No.
And isn't it true that you never expected this matter to come before this panel? You thought you'd get away with destroying Lieutenant Tyson's reputation, counting on the fact that he would never come forward in his own defense and the Army would never have enough evidence to prosecute.
Your Honor, this is outrageous speechifying.
Sustained. Mr. Reynolds.
Dr. Brandt, who was the first soldier to begin firing into the hospital emergency room itself?
I'm not sure.
Nobody here expects you to recollect every specific moment after so many years, yet your testimony places Lieutenant Tyson on the same spot throughout. According to you, he just stood there the whole time.
Yes.
And you also stood there.
Yes.
And did nothing.
Yes.
You testified that Lieutenant Tyson shot Larry Kane.
Yes.
You told Major Harper Larry Kane was killed by snipers outside in the courtyard.
I believe I've answered that.
Of course. You wanted to protect Larry Kane's family, Larry Kane's reputation. You didn't want to defame an innocent man.
Your Honor.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
This hearing is adjourned to tomorrow morning.
There's 5 jurors on that panel. need 3 votes for acquittal. I know I got 2. When my summation's over, I'm gonna get me that 3rd.
I'm not going to ask you why you chose to protect those men all these years. Because I don't think that I'll ever really be able to understand that. But I do need to know why you never confided in me.
I've been living with this my whole life. I just didn't want you to have to live with it too.
Major Harper.
Your Honor, there's been an unusual development. May I approach?
Come on up here. Mr. Reynolds.
Your Honor, we've located an eyewitness. A woman of unimpeachable character who was present at Misericord at the time of the incident.
What the hell are you talking about?
Sister Teresa. The French government and the Vatican have been helping to locate her. I got a call yesterday afternoon. She's been on a plane and arrived just 3 hours ago.
Do you have any idea what she's going to say?
I assume the truth, Your Honor.
Mr. Reynolds.
I have no problem with that witness this time.
Bring her in.
Remember me, sister? Now you keep your mouth shut. Don't say a word, or I'll
Tom,
find you.
stand down!
I don't take orders from you anymore. In the army, you kiss my ass. You gave your word, Ty. You gave your word. You gave your word.
Your Honor, there's no reason for this woman to testify.
You're out of order.
You do not want this on the public record.
You have had ample opportunity to resolve this, Lieutenant. Now, damn it, we're going to hear what this woman has to say. Sit down! Major?
State your full name, please.
Sister Teresa Maria Carpentier.
And your occupation?
I do missionary work in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, India.
Are you aware of the circumstances of this trial and the charges against the defendant, Benjamin Tyson?
Yes, I am.
Sister Teresa, were you present at the International Hospital at Misericord when a U.S. infantry platoon approached from the direction of the town square?
I was.
And can you tell us, as clearly as you can recall after so many years, what was experienced on that day?
I was on the veranda when I heard a shot.
Peterson! Come on! Give me a hand! Give me! Come on! Give me!
Just keep go, go, go! Come on, Petey! Come on the other side! Hey! Please! Nobody move! Down, everybody!
He's bleeding to death, Lieutenant!
Doctor, I got an injured man.
Come on!
Shave him on me.
Come on! God!
Please, officer! What the hell are you doing?
Come on! Come on, don't die me, man! Hey, you know who's coming? Bob Hoagie. And, look, he's someone. You love her, don't you? Come on, Peterson! Get to work, Froggy!
Let him alone.
This is an enemy! Dude, Doctor, get over here! You gotta help my friend!
Put your weapons down! This is an international hospital, you bloody bastards! And I decide who gets seen here and in what order!
Get out of here!
Kane, put the gun down. Now.
Kane!
What the?
He's dead.
Lower your weapons and place yourselves under arrest. Kelly, call battalion.
Try it, boy.
Do it, man.
Go ahead. Try it. Do him! Kill him! Waste them all!
One final question. Sister Teresa, do you credit Lieutenant Tyson with saving your life?
Yes, I do.
No more questions. Thank you.
Mr. Reynolds?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you, sister. You can step down. You have any kind of statement you'd like to make before this court renders a verdict?
No.
All right. This is going to stop now! You have frustrated this court at every turn. And I demand to know why.
I believed then, as I believe now, about what's happening here. That my coming forward, nothing good would come to this country, to the Army, or to those soldiers.
You account for your conduct in 72, but you maintain a recalcitrance at your defense today. More importantly, you continue to shelter your men. Why?
I don't pass judgment on my men. They didn't want to go to Vietnam. They were ordered to go to Vietnam. They didn't want to be there. They didn't believe in that war. But they went.
That's non-responsive, Lieutenant. I want to know why you manipulated the Army into giving these men immunity.
Imagine being asked to measure men's souls, to decide their legacy. Because of one day. If on that day they went mad, and in their madness committed a terrible, terrible crime against humanity, against innocent people. But on every other day, they were fine men who, in the middle of complete insanity, fought with decency and honor, not for themselves, but for this country. Sacrificed their lives for this country, went home in body bags for this country, lost their minds for this country. My word of honor is not an oath of silence. It's an oath to defend my country and to protect my men. And to take full responsibility for what happened, for my role in what happened. I should have stopped the massacre. Or died trying. And I bear full responsibility for that tragedy. I bear full responsibility for that tragedy. And the shame that I carry. No one on this panel could possibly comprehend.
Your closing statement has been noted. This panel will recess.
Well, can't make a run for it. Too many MPs.
You know I cheated on that test, right? And I lied to you about it. I'm sorry.
I know.
I have a verdict.
Lieutenant, please rise. Lieutenant Benjamin Tyson, as president of this court, it is my duty to inform you that the court, in closed session, in full and open discussion, and upon secret written ballot, all of the members concurring, we find you guilty of the murder of Lawrence Albert Kane. It is further our determination that you be sentenced to forfeit all pay and allowances due you. You are hereby dismissed from the Army of the United States.